The House will come to order. The pledge today will be led by McKinley Mueller and Reese Prue from Glenwood Springs High School, Glenwood Springs, Colorado.
All right. Go for it. Please join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Kohler, please call the roll.
Representatives Arndt. Oh. Becker J. Becker K. Representative Casey Becker. Yeah. Okay. Becker K excused. Brown. Buck. Buckner. Carver. Conti. Coram. Court. Danielson. Del Grosso. Dorr. Duran. Esgar. Everett. Fields. Foote. Garnett. Janal. Hamner. Humphrey. Joshi. Kagan. Klingenschmidt. Representative Klingenschmidt.
Representative Klingenschmidt excused.
Kraftarp. Landgraf. Lawrence. Lebsock. Lee. Leonard. Lontine. Lundeen. McCann. Melton. Mitch Bush. Moreno. Ooh. Navarro. Neville. Nordberg. Pabone. Pedersen. Primavera. Priola. Rankin. Ransom. Rosenthal. Rupe. Ryden. Sane. Representative Sane.
Representative Sane excused.
Salazar. Sias. Singer. Thurlow. Tyler. Van Winkle. Vigil. Willett. Williams. Wilson. Windholz. Winter. Wist. Young. Here. Madam Speaker. Representative Becker K is present.
With 63 present, 2 excused, a quorum is present. Representative Windholz.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the reading of the journal for the 25th day of April 2016 be dispensed with and this be corrected by the Chief Clerk.
You've heard the motion that the journal be adopted as corrected by the Chief Clerk. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Announcements and introductions. Representative Kagan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members of the House Judiciary Committee, in addition to Thursday's calendar that does not appear on your printed calendar yet, we will be hearing on Thursday afternoon House Bill 1448 by Representative Singer concerning relative guardianship assistance program criteria on Thursday afternoon. House Bill 1448.
Representative Landgraf.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, this Monday, May 2nd, is the last Veterans Caucus. If you haven't already RSVP'd to Jerry, please do so. We're going to be hearing from the Veterans Service Organizations, and we have a lot of people who have RSVP'd who have not been there yet, so we need to have a really good turnout. It's in room 112 in the basement at 12 o'clock. Lunch will be provided, so you need to RSVP. Thank you.
Representative Conti.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I hope that you will help me extend a warm welcome to Franklin Elementary that is joining us today up in the gallery. They're going to be visiting all throughout the morning, so please help me give a warm welcome to Franklin Elementary, who's here from my district.
Representatives Del Grosso and Janal, were you both together on an announcement? Oh, okay. Representative Janal then, okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just a note on the Health Insurance and Environment Committee this afternoon, upon adjournment, is we're going to hear House Bill 1394 and 1438 first, and then Senate Bill 38, if time permits. Thank you.
Further discussion, announcements. Representative Arndt.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Today, I just want to let everybody know that Representative Steve Toole from Fort Collins is in the house. So if you see him walking around, please be sure to say hello and thank him for his service.
Representative, welcome. Representative Kagan, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Help support our troops. The last day is tomorrow. So those of you who've been itching to bring some deodorant or mac and cheese or energy drinks or granola bars, any of the things on this list, please do it because tomorrow's our last chance. So don't forget, bring one of these marvelous items or more of those marvelous items, pop them in the bag at the back, and let's beat the Senate and show that we support our troops more effectively than they do, and let's help our troops at the same time. So bring them tomorrow, please, members.
Representative West. Oh, Representative West and Representative Fields and Representative Buckner.
Hello.
Please proceed in whatever order you choose.
Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
Good morning. I am really excited because it's Cherry Creek Community Legislative Network Day at the Capitol. Please join me in welcoming all the people who are here with that network. This network is a nonpartisan group of district organization dedicated to bringing awareness to its parents, staff, and general community regarding educational issues in the legislative process.
Representative Fields.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And the superintendent is with us today of Cherry Creek School, and that would be Harry Bull, and many members of the elected school board is here. And then also we have kids here. I don't know if you've noticed the children that we have with us, and they are from Indian Ridge Elementary School. And we have 80 of them here today. Will you guys please stand for us? And let's welcome them. Oh, please stand.
And Representative West.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have never heard the Pledge of Allegiance so loud. Thank you for rocking the Pledge of Allegiance. Welcome to the Capitol to all of you.
And thank you, students. I loved all of the young voices on the Pledge of Allegiance as well. And I want you to know that you have been the quietest and most attentive group sitting on the sides that we have had this year. I deeply appreciate your attention and your quietness. You must have wonderful teachers and parents, and thank you very much for being here. Representative Ryden and Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, I also want to welcome all of our Cherry Creek folks today, our teachers and our students and our parents. So glad to have Cherry Creek schools in my district also. And now, members, it's time for another senior moment. Representative Singer and I are here today to call your attention to the flyer that is on your desk with the headline, "Home is where the heart is." We just want to remind you of all the wonderful things that our local area agencies on aging are doing for our older folks to help them stay in their homes. And if you look on the back, you will see some specific stories, and Representative Singer wants to tell you about those.
Representative Singer, please
Thank
proceed.
you, Madam Speaker. I believe last week I talked to you about Region 13, including Chaffey, Custer, Fremont, and Lake counties. Today, let's talk about Pikes Peaks, Region 4, AAA, and Colorado Springs, where they provide services to older adults in El Paso, Park, and Teller counties. These essential services allow Carol to remain living independently in her community. She says, "I am so grateful for this agency. You have given me back my independence and allowed me to stay at home with a lifeline, a wheelchair, and transportation." These are the kinds of things that our AAAs do across the state. Please take a look at your flyer and see what they can do for you and your constituents. They're there to help, and all we need to do is call.
And members, these are the reasons why we try to appropriate as much as we can to our seniors to keep them at home as long as possible. Thank you for all your support.
Further announcements. Representative Buck.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I don't need to really announce somebody that probably several of you already know, but I'm welcoming my guest, Kenny Momfort. Kenny Momfort is the son of Charlie Momfort, so everybody root for the Rockies, of course, but please welcome my friend Kenny Momfort to the House today.
Further announcements and introductions.
I'm really tempted to lay everything over after that.
So I think all you have to do is business.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
No, we're doing a second.
Madam Majority Leader.
We have to do the resolution. Bills, 1019. Yeah, we're doing the Bills resolution first, then Buffalo Soldiers.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I move to proceed out of order for the immediate consideration of HJR 1019 by Representative Fields.
Seeing no objection, the House will proceed out of order as requested by the Majority Leader. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Joint Resolution 1019.
HJR 1019 by Representative Fields, also Senator Tate, concerning the designation of May 2nd, 2016 as Children's Health Day in Colorado.
Good morning, Speaker Pro Tem. I'd like to move this resolution and ask that it be read at length.
Whereas, good health lays the groundwork for success in many areas of a child's life. And whereas when children are healthy, physically, mentally, and socially, they are more likely to enter school ready to learn, they miss fewer days of school, and they have the energy and focus to pay attention in the classroom. And whereas the World Health Organization says that children should eat no more than 24 grams, 6 teaspoons of added sugar per day, but children are eating an average of 130 grams, over 30 teaspoons per day, leading to 1 in 3 children now having diabetes. And whereas about 1 in 4 Colorado children is estimated to be overweight or obese. And whereas an estimated 270,000 children, about 22% of all children, were living in households experiencing hunger in 2009, an 86% increase since 2002. And whereas 2 of 3 children exercise 20 minutes or less, 4 times or fewer per week, nowhere near the recommended 1 hour per day of exercise for all kids. And whereas there is a link between hunger and obesity, and access to fresh produce and lean meats is often limited in low-income neighborhoods. And whereas low-cost foods tend to be more highly processed and calorie-dense than more expensive foods, and may not provide children with the vitamins and nutrients their brains and bodies need to develop healthily. And whereas on average between 2010 and 2012, 35% of Colorado families with children between the ages of 1 and 14 reported that they often or sometimes relied on low-cost foods to feed their family due to limited resources. And whereas ensuring that all kids have access to adequate healthy food and safe places to exercise and play is essential to ending both hunger and obesity in Colorado's kids. And whereas 153,000 children, or about 1 in 8 children, 12.2%, in Colorado do not have health insurance. And whereas according to the Children's Campaign 2010 survey of the nutrition, physical activity, and physical education policies of 23 of Colorado's largest school districts, representing about 80% of all Colorado students in public schools, only 4 of the 23 districts require that all school snacks for all students meet nutritional standards. Only 4 of the districts require PE for elementary and middle school students, and Colorado is one of only 2 states that do not require PE courses. And whereas Colorado is the leanest state in the nation for adults, but Colorado children dropped in ranking from 3rd to 23rd leanest in the nation between 2003 and 2007. And whereas between 2003 and 2007, the number of obese 10 to 17-year-olds rose from 48,000 to 72,000. And whereas Governor John W. Hickenlooper stated on March 24, 2014, quote, "There is nothing more important to Colorado's future than the success of our children and our ability to capitalize on the opportunities of our future workforce leaders, parents, and citizens." And whereas on opening day of the 2014 Colorado legislative session, 43 students from Indian Ridge Elementary School presented a proposal to Representatives Fields, Lee, and Rosenthal and Senator Johnston, and sent a letter to U.S. Senator Udall requesting the formation of a commission on childhood wellness and obesity prevention. And whereas 5th grade children of Indian Ridge Elementary asked the Colorado legislature to provide a recommended daily allowance of sugar and require manufacturers to show a percentage of RDA on the nutrition labels of all food packaging, provide a list of the types of sugar and sugar substitutes on nutrition labels, put color-coded picture warning labels on drinks containing sugar, and tax soft drinks and other sugary drinks to fund wide-scale nutrition education. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the 70th General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the Senate concurring herein, that we, the General Assembly, support the promotion of health for Colorado children by designating May 2, 2016 as Children's Health Day. Believe that providing children in childcare, school, and community settings with nutritious foods and plenty of opportunities for vigorous exercise are important steps to giving children a healthy start in life, and encourage schools, health professionals, and organizations to design activities and educational programs on Children's Health Day that meet the needs of individual communities.
Representative Fields.
Thank you, Speaker Pro Tem. I'd like to move Amendment L001 and ask that it be displayed. Members, basically we're amending this resolution to include some additional folks that we want to have copy of this resolution. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on L001, which is properly before us? Seeing none and seeing any objection to a voice vote? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. L001 passes. Representative Fields.
Yes, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I would like to display a video that the children have prepared for us to view.
Let's roll the tape.
You want a solution to help make kids healthier in Colorado? Join the Spat That movement and help Spat That go viral. What is Spat That? Spat That means sugar turns the fat inside your body. It's a fun way of saying no to junk food. The Spat That movement began when a group of 4th and 5th graders from Indian Ridge Elementary learned that there was an emerging epidemic of children getting type 2 diabetes and obesity. Most kids don't know that they should only be eating 24 grams of sugar a day. That's 6 teaspoons. On average, kids are eating 130 grams of sugar a day. That's equivalent to 33 teaspoons. Just say Spat That. I don't want that. Eat real food. Check out what Spat That kids are up to. We just passed the bill! We want this message to go viral all over the nation. We want every kid to learn to be healthy. I'm so healthy! Are you ready, Sue?
We started a fresh fruit program in our school, so every kid can have a piece of fruit at snack time.
We started a school garden with the help of our cafeteria manager, PTO, and our community.
We spoke to our politicians to make change. We made a free 30-minute Shvat That movie starring Skippy the Superoo, hero of superfoods, to educate all kids in Colorado.
How do I become a Shvat That kid?
Eat real food, not processed food.
Choose water, not juice or soda.
Play every day outside.
Find a Shvat That champion within your community.
It could be your teacher, your coach, or your principal.
And ask them to join the movement.
Be a Shvat That kid. I'm a Shvat That kid.
I'm a Shvat That kid. I'm a Shvat That kid.
And remember, just a Shvat That to junk food. Legislators, we need your support. Put a day on the calendar to celebrate children's health.
Shouldn't all Colorado kids be Shvat That kids?
Representative Fields.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Members, I've been working with these kids for 3 years, and I can't tell you how proud I am of them. They approached me and they said that they wanted to address the sugary drinks that they had in school. And they wanted to have a pathway to nutrition and better eating and lifestyle and exercise and fitness. And their principal bought into this. And so it started at their leadership, and then it went viral from there, and the kids got engaged civically. They've been down here to the Capitol twice. They've talked to our lieutenant governor. They've talked to our governor. So I'm just wanting all the kids to know that I'm so very proud of you taking the initiative to do what you think is best for your health and for your well-being. And I just want to thank the Living Closer Foundation for their support in producing this document and for all the good work that you do. Thank you so very much for being here today. Pretty amazing.
Representative Fields.
Yes, I'd like to ask that the current roll call be added to as co-sponsors.
Representative Fields, we need to pass the resolution first. Is there any further discussion on House Joint Resolution 1019? Seeing none, there is objection to a voice vote. So, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative McCann excused. With 57 aye votes, 6 no votes, 2 excused, House Joint Resolution 1019 is passed. We'll save the applause once we have a recess when we can welcome our guest. Representative Fields.
Yes, I'd like to add, I guess we've already taken the vote. If I'd like to introduce some special guests that I have here.
Representative Fields, we now will open the machine for co-sponsors of House Joint Resolution 1019. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Representative Fields.
Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce some special guests.
Please proceed, Representative Fields.
First of all, these children have been under the direction of a doctor who has been giving them all the technical input in reference to this initiative. So I'd like to ask Dr. Johnson to please stand. And then also we have the principal of Indian Ridge. Will you please stand? McDonald. And then all the parents and the teachers that are here from Indian Ridge, please stand. And then all the kids in the balcony and along the sides, will you please stand? Thank you so very much for your participation today and in our government. Thank you so very much.
And the House will be in a brief recess to greet our guest. The House will come back to order. Message from the Senate.
Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, the Senate has adopted.
Please print the remaining of the message of the Senate in the journal. Introduction of resolutions.
Senate Joint Resolution 35 by Senators Lambert and Merrifield, also Representatives Carver and Lee, concerning the commemoration of the Buffalo Soldiers and the designation of a portion of United States Highway 24 from mile marker 308 to mile marker 298 as the Buffalo Soldiers Memorial Highway.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I move to suspend the rules for the immediate consideration of SJR 35.
Seeing no objection, the rules will be suspended as requested by the Majority Leader. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Joint Resolution 35.
SJR 35 by Senators Lambert and Merrifield, also Representatives Carver and Lee, concerning the commemoration of the Buffalo Soldiers and the designation of a portion of United States Highway 24 from mile marker 308 to mile marker 298 as the Buffalo Soldiers Memorial Highway.
Representative Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I move Senate Joint Resolution 16-35 and ask that it be read at length.
Whereas African Americans have served with honor and distinction in every major American war, and whereas approximately 180,000 African Americans served in the U.S. Army and another 18,000 served in the U.S. Navy during the Civil War from 1861 to 1865, and whereas in 1866, federal legislation was adopted to create 6 African American Army units, identified as the 9th and 10th Cavalry and the 38th, 39th, 40th, and 41st Infantry Regiments. And whereas the 4 infantry units were reorganized in 1868 as the 24th and 25th Infantry Regiments. And whereas the African American troops could only serve west of the Mississippi River because of the prevailing attitudes following the Civil War, which led to their extensive involvement in the settling of the American West. And whereas these troops were given the nickname of Buffalo Soldiers by Native Americans and were known for the same fierce bravery and fighting spirit of the respected animal. And whereas the Buffalo Soldiers' main charge was to protect settlers as they moved west and to support the westward expansion by building forts, roads, and other infrastructure, and mapping the wilderness as the American West was being developed. And whereas Buffalo Soldiers were stationed at Fort Lyon and Fort Garland, Colorado, where they assisted civil authorities in peacekeeping efforts and participated in many important military conflicts in Colorado's early history. And whereas Buffalo Soldiers fought bandits, escorted stagecoaches and paymasters, and delivered mail longer than the Pony Express. And whereas Buffalo Soldiers were awarded 23 Medals of Honor and 40 Certificates of Merit for their valor, endurance, and courage, and the African American units had the lowest desertion rate in the Army. And whereas due to the integral part Buffalo Soldiers have played in the history of Colorado and the United States, it is appropriate to honor their history and valor. And whereas the year 2016 marks the 150th anniversary of the establishment of these African American regiments, now therefore be it resolved by the Senate of the 70th General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the House of Representatives concurring herein, that the portion of United States Highway 24 from mile marker 308 to mile marker 298 near Garden of the Gods through the cities of Colorado Springs and Manitou Springs, Colorado, be renamed the Buffalo Soldiers Memorial Highway, that the Colorado Department of Transportation may accept and expend gifts, grants, and donations for the purposes of the initial placement of signs to mark the designated portion of United States Highway 24 as the Buffalo Soldiers Memorial Highway, and that the Colorado Department of Transportation may explore a cooperative agreement with the Board of County Commissioners for El Paso County for the maintenance of the markings for the Buffalo Soldiers Memorial Highway.
Representative Carver or Lee?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. At this time, we would like to show a presentation that has been put together by a local community group to honor and recognize the contributions of Buffalo Soldiers to our state and region.
Please roll the tape.
This commemoration is to honor the African American troops of the 9th and 10th Cavalry and soldiers of the 24th and 25th Infantry Regiments who helped settle the West and also participated in the Spanish-American War. These men became known as Buffalo Soldiers, a name bestowed upon them by the Southern Plains Indians. The Buffalo Soldiers were awarded a total of 23 Medals of Honor and 40 Certificates of Merit from 1867 to 1907.
At the time of the Buffalo Soldiers, most of the West was U.S. territory in the process of becoming a state. The 4 regiments were spread throughout this Western territory. The regiments had to endure many camps away from the main posts and resupply outposts.
The 9th and 10th Cavalry and the 24th and 25th Infantry Regiments had a major impact on Colorado becoming a state in 1876. They guarded the surveyors establishing the state lines and developed roads. They also assisted civil authorities in controlling mobs and pursuing outlaws and cattle thieves.
Many of the cavalrymen and soldiers had served in the Civil War as part of state militias.
This photo of the 9th Cavalry of the famed Buffalo Soldiers was stationed at Fort Garland, Colorado between 1876 and 1879 after having served in Texas. In 1876, troops marched to the La Plata region to prevent conflict between the Utes and white prospectors.
This is a picture of members of the 9th Cavalry at the Sally Port, the main entrance into Fort Garland, 1874. The fort is in the San Luis Valley.
Here are the Buffalo Soldiers working with their Apache Scouts. The Scouts were used mostly in southern Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona, and this is a photo from Fort Garland. Colleagues, I beg your pardon.
Go ahead.
Colleagues, and ladies and gentlemen, if you would all please stand. We are now going to recognize the 23 members of the Buffalo Soldiers who are Medal of Honor recipients. Edward L. Baker, Jr., Sergeant Major, 10th Cavalry, Spanish-American War, 1898. Dennis Bell, Private, H Troop, 10th Cavalry, Spanish-American War, 1898.
Thomas Boyne, Sergeant, C Troop, 9th Cavalry, Victoria Campaign, 1879. Benjamin Brown, Sergeant, C Troop, 24th Infantry, Paymaster Escort, 1889. John Denny, Private, C Troop, 9th Cavalry, Victoria Campaign, 1879.
Pompey Factor, Private, 24th Infantry, Staked Plains Expedition, 1875. Clinton Greaves, Corporal, C Troop, 9th Cavalry, Apache Campaign, 1877. Henry Johnson, Private, K Troop, 9th Cavalry, Ute Campaign, 1879.
George Gordon, Sergeant, K Troop, 9th Cavalry, Victoria Campaign, 1879. Fitz Lee, Private, M Troop, 10th Cavalry, Spanish-American War, 1898. Isaiah Mays, Corporal, B Troop, 24th Infantry, Paymaster Escort, 1889.
William McBriar, Sergeant, K Troop, 10th Cavalry, Apache Campaign, 1890. Adam Payne, Private, 24th Infantry, Comanche Campaign, 1874. Isaac Payne, Trumpeter, 24th Infantry, Staked Plains Expedition, 1875.
Thomas Shaw, Sergeant, K Troop, 10th Cavalry, Apache Campaign, 1881. Emmanuel Stantz, Sergeant, F Troop, 9th Cavalry, Texas Raid, 1870. William H. Tompkins, Corporal, A Troop, 10th Cavalry, Spanish-American War, 1898.
Augustus Wally, Sergeant, E Troop, 10th Cavalry, Apache Campaign, 1881. George H. Wanton, Private, M Troop, 10th Cavalry, Spanish-American War, 1898. John Ward, Sergeant, 24th Infantry, Staked Plains Expedition, 1875.
Moses Williams, Sergeant, I Troop, 9th Cavalry, Apache Campaign, 1881. William O. Wilson, Corporal, I Troop, 9th Cavalry, Pine Ridge Campaign, 1890. Brent Woods, Sergeant, B Troop, 9th Cavalry, Apache Campaign, 1881.
Thank you, members. You may be seated. We would also like to recognize the community members of the Pikes Peak region who have worked so diligently to recognize the contributions of the Buffalo Soldiers to our state. And I'd like to ask these community members to stand as we recognize them.
Representative Lee, do you want to go to the resolution first and then let members speak, and then we can both acknowledge our guest and greet them and do all that in one uniform manner?
Very good. We'll proceed as suggested. Colleagues, I'm honored to sponsor Senate Joint Resolution 35 along with Representative Carver, who I commend for taking the lead in organizing and orchestrating this resolution. I thank her for asking me to participate with her. This resolution, as you heard, recognizes and calls attention to the underappreciated achievements of the Buffalo Soldiers. Although African Americans have fought in every major conflict in which the United States has been involved, beginning with the Revolutionary War, they have not received the recognition appropriate to their sacrifice. Despite living in Colorado for 40 years, I only became aware of the Buffalo Soldiers through my work as a member of the executive board of the NAACP Colorado Springs branch. I commend the Buffalo Soldiers Local Community Committee for the work they have done to research and bring recognition to these soldiers. As described in this resolution, the African American soldiers have served our country honorably and valiantly, earning 23 Medals of Honor among other awards. Their struggle to enlist and their courageous exploits in the Civil War were documented in the movie Glory, starring Denzel Washington. But their contributions throughout history have been veiled in anonymity and their exploits shrouded in secrecy, due, I suggest, to the racism of our society. But that did not stop the Buffalo Soldiers from heroic achievements as they did the work of opening the West. Buffalo Soldiers played an important role in escorting and protecting settlers, building forts and roads, mapping the wilderness, and carrying mail as the U.S. expanded westward. Their contribution to our nation and to our state should and cannot be forgotten. Thus, it is appropriate that Colorado Springs, with its rich military history and 5 military installations, including Fort Carson, Peterson Air Force Base, Schriever Space Command, and NORAD, be the place where the Buffalo Soldiers are eternally honored. Highway 24, which runs right through the center of House District 18, from the Garden of the Cods through downtown Colorado Springs, past the old Ent Air Force Base to Peterson Field, is where hundreds of thousands of tourists travel each year. It is an ideal location for the Buffalo Soldiers Memorial Highway, honoring these valiant pioneers. It is a fitting legacy to their achievements. I hope that that Coloradans and visitors alike will be encouraged to learn of the rich history and notable exploits of the Buffalo Soldiers as they drive the Buffalo Soldiers Memorial Highway through Colorado Springs. I am thankful for this opportunity to commemorate the service of these brave men who served their country at a time when their country was not serving them. I urge an aye vote on Senate Resolution 35.
Representative Carver.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. When I was first approached by members of the community about honoring the Buffalo Soldiers by designating a segment of Highway 24 for them, I was thrilled and honored to work with them. This dedicated group in our community has worked long and diligently to recognize a very important part of our history, the contributions of the Buffalo Soldiers and their extraordinary bravery and valor in the service of their country. And so I am so pleased to have many members of that community group with us here today, and very grateful to Representative Lee and all members of the El Paso County delegation who have joined in this recognition of these brave soldiers who, despite huge obstacles, served honorably and well.
Further discussion on Senate Joint Resolution 35. Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, and I rise in support of SJR 1635 and want to say thank you to Representative Lee and Carver for bringing this resolution and recognizing the efforts of the Buffalo Soldiers and the roles that they played in our state and in our country. The Buffalo Soldiers have been around, as you can see, for a long, long time, and the presence in which they bring to our state is still very active. There's not a parade I get in and I don't see the Buffalo Soldiers present on their horses here in Denver and across the state. So thank you for everything you do. I'm happy to also see that we're recognizing this strip of highway that's going to be running north and south. Is that correct? East and west, because I know that even with the Tuskegee Airmen who have made so many contributions like yourselves to our state and to our country, that we recognize portions of the highway along I-70. So I just want to say thank you for bringing this resolution, and I ask for an aye vote.
Representative Fields.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. And I, too, stand in strong support for this resolution and want to thank all the Buffalo Soldiers for all of their efforts. When I think about what it was like back then, and I think I saw the time frames like 1899. It was a different world back then. And I think about their service. I think about their sacrifice as it related to building roads and clearing the pathways and whatever they had to do to protect settlers and stagecoach rides and just all of that history. We're able to stand proudly here today because of all of that hard work. So I just want to say on behalf of the Colorado House of Representatives, thank you for your service, your sacrifice, and your courage.
Representative Buckner.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. I want to thank Representative Carver and Representative Lee for having the courage and also knowing that this recognition was so important of these distinguished men. Over the years, I learned so much about Buffalo Soldiers and their impact on so many different people. And I am so thrilled that when I drive on that highway, which I have many times, now I will know that you're being recognized as well. And I just want to thank all of you for your contributions and just the fact that we're recognizing you, and I'm just very pleased. Thank you so much.
Representatives Melton and Salazar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, and members, I rise in support of SJR 16035. The Buffalo Soldiers were men of distinction, and their service should be and is greatly appreciated, especially during a time in 1868 when they were not allowed to serve east of the Mississippi. They were forced to serve west of the Mississippi, but they still did it. They did it because of their conviction inside of them that they needed to contribute to America's story. And even though some of the campaigns were difficult in going against other people, they still carried it out because they felt a need to serve. And so with that, members, I rise in support, recognizing that willingness to serve, and ask for an aye vote.
Representative Salazar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. You know, I'm conflicted about this resolution, not because I don't think that Buffalo Soldiers should be honored. I'm conflicted for the reason of how Buffalo Soldiers were used. Buffalo Soldiers were used for, and as we heard, numerous campaigns against American Indians who they themselves were fighting for their homeland, and they themselves were fighting for their families and for their own survival. And the fact that Buffalo Soldiers were used for westward expansion and there's a conflict that I have in my soul. Because I understand that the Buffalo Soldiers were immensely brave and fought valiantly in service of their country. And even at that time, a country that didn't necessarily honor the Buffalo Soldier completely. But I stand here today to honor the Buffalo Soldier because something took place. Something took place that allows me to stand here and look at you today and say that I'm proud. And that was a reconciliation between African Americans and American Indians. The recognition that both of our communities have been exploited in so many different ways against each other, the original divide and conquer of this nation. And that we've been able to reconcile, sit down with each other and talk with each other, and be able to reconcile the past and move forward in the future. And that's what real soldiers do. We move forward together. And that's what we do here in this body. Myself, members of the Black Caucus, we have moved forward together fighting for each other and for each other's communities. And that's the example that you've demonstrated to us. So I rise in support of SJR 16-035, and I thank you.
Representative Vigil.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I also want to thank Representative Carver and Lee, and I rise in support of this resolution 16-035. As a sixth-generation Coloradoan from Castilla County, where Fort Garland is located, I'm very proud to say to these brave Buffalo Soldiers, thank you for your service. And if you ever want to see how they lived and the quarters that they lived in and the extreme hardships that they might have faced, go visit Fort Garland Museum and the Buffalo Soldier display down there. You will see that the quarters are cramped. You will see that their sleeping quarters were cramped. Their whole existence was very primitive. They survived that. Not only that, if you ever want to see the sacrifice that they ever did, go to Fort Garland and then go up to the Glorieta Pass by Pecos, New Mexico. They marched that whole thing up there. As a drive, it's a tough drive on a vehicle. But to walk up and down those mountains and the territory that they took to the Glorieta Pass battle, which was a decisive battle for the West when the Civil War was being fought. They stopped the Confederates at the Glorieta Pass. It was a huge conflict, and that secured the United States Civil War for the North. But the story goes that they were on their way to, the Confederates were on their way to the West to take over the gold and silver mines. And had that happened, they would have had a lot more money to continue the fight. So, there's just tremendous courage, hardships, and can't imagine the loneliness that those Buffalo Soldiers experienced. So thank you for your service. I rise in strong support of this resolution, and thank you for enduring all you have.
Representative Rupe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Members, I have remarkable respect for our Buffalo Soldiers. I learned about them when I did historic and cultural resource work with the military, with the Army throughout the Southwest. And these are freemen. These were freemen fighting the expansion of slavery. These were men of character, integrity, resilience. I can't speak highly enough of them, and I am a strong supporter of this resolution. And I encourage you to take some time to go to Fort Garland, but also I invite you to come down to Colorado Springs. We have a memorial in our park that we plan on opening later on this year, and I encourage you to come down and participate in that memorial and further understanding the complete commitment that we saw from these Buffalo Soldiers. They were fierce, they were remarkable, Their tenacity was exemplary, and they are something to live up to today. Thank you.
Representative Quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Thank the sponsors for bringing this resolution. I got to tell you, I'm not very good at hyphenated names. I don't often use African American, Native American, Italian American. To me, we are all Americans. And I thank you for your service. Representative Vigil talked about how the conditions were tough for the Buffalo Soldiers. It's exactly right, they were tough. But what you all need to know is when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And, you know, I'm an old rodeo guy, and we just say, let's cowboy up and move on. Thank you very much for your service.
Is there further discussion on Senate Joint Resolution 35? Seeing none, there is objection to a voice vote. So, Mr. Kohler, please open your the machines, and members proceed to vote. Wait. Close the machine. Well, speaker's present. How does speaker vote?
Speaker votes yes.
Speaker votes yes. With 65 aye votes, 0 no votes, 0 excused, 0 absent, Senate Joint Resolution 35 passes. Representative Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I request that the morning roll call be added as co-sponsors.
Seeing no objection, the morning roll call will be added as co-sponsors. Representative Carver.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I would ask for a brief recess and then would like to introduce our special guests here.
The House will be in a brief recess. Representative Carver.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Gentlemen, if you could please stand when I call your name. Ed Jones, former state senator and former El Paso County Commissioner. Jim Mason, Colonel, retired U.S. Army. Bob Null, Colonel, retired U.S. Air Force. Willie H. Brazel, Chief Warrant Officer, Captain, U.S. Army Reserve. Sherman Fuller, Command Sergeant Major, retired, U.S. Army. Terrence McWilliams, Command Sergeant Major, retired, U.S. Army. Mel Elliott, Lieutenant Colonel, retired, U.S. Army. Henry Allen, First Sergeant, retired, U.S. Army. I want to also welcome from the Denver chapter of the Buffalo Soldiers, Matt Antoine, Travis Green, First Sergeant, U.S. Army. And finally, Patty Sue Spears, who assisted our local community group with the communications and has also been part of this effort. Members, if you would please join me in welcoming our guests.
Representative Carver.
Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, if we could take 5 minutes to welcome our guests.
Representative Carver, I think we're going to recess right now anyway, so let's let the majority leader lead us in that, and then we can welcome our members and guests. The House will come back to order. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Great idea. I move to lay over the balance of the calendar until Wednesday, April 27th.
Seeing no objection, the balance of the calendar will be laid over until tomorrow, April 27th.
And if you want to go to recess, fantastic.
All right. The House will be in recess. The House will come back to order. We do have some announcements and introductions. Representative McCann.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to remind people that tomorrow is Colorado Denim Day, and we are asking you to contribute $5, and you will be able to wear your jeans tomorrow, and we will tell you the story tomorrow. I was going to do it today, but nobody's listening, so we'll do it tomorrow.
Further announcements and introductions. Representative Rosenthal's got something for the 3 or 4 of us that are listening. Go ahead, Representative Rosenthal. Go. Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. So members, actually, so tomorrow morning, there's a breakfast at the Old Supreme Court, actually at the room 112 in the basement. Truman Institute is showing a small clip from a film about oil and national security, and a retired admiral will be also there to speak with the members a little bit about that topic. So you're all welcome to be there, Truman Institute, tomorrow morning, room 112, starting at 8 a.m. Thank you.
Representative McCann.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of Health, Insurance, and Environment, we are going to meet briefly, so make your way down to the committee room. We will be recessing at noon, however, but we'll try to get through the bills that just require a vote. Thanks.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I move the House stand in recess until later today at 1:30 p.m.
Seeing no objection, the House will stand in recess until later today at 1:30 p.m.